In this episode, we have a performance by our in-house rap band, Baby Raider and the Bench Dogs, and we do black magic on a woodworking Ouija board. And lots more, so stick around! Hi guys, and welcome back to the show. In this video we're going to do a proof of concept of how you can build an MFT or a multifunction table without the use of an expensive jig. In the last video I tried to build an MFT, but it was a complete failure, and if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll post a link up here to the playlist so you can go back and watch that. I did a follow-up on that video explaining why it failed from a more theoretical point of view. You'll find that in the same playlist. And if you watch that video, you'll be more up to speed on what we're doing here. While what we're doing here may seem a bit banal, the goal behind this proof of concept is not to build a crosscut jig for the track saw. It is to see what kind of accuracy we can achieve using a method of positioning the holes that is not susceptible to tolerance creep, or what I call inherited uncertainty. So before I talk you guys to death, let's not waste any more time and get right down to it. Luke, I am Nomad Makes. I printed out 2 A3 sheets of grid paper and painstakingly made sure they were close to perfectly aligned. You could use several of these, but that would make your build susceptible to tolerance creep. And the whole point of this build is to prove the accuracy you can achieve when avoiding tolerance creep or inherited uncertainty. So I put the sheets of grid paper on top of a pane of plexiglass and light underneath to see the lines overlapping. And when I was happy with the positioning, I taped the 2 sheets together. So now I've checked and checked and checked, and this is as good as I managed to get it. And then I could tape the template down to what is going to be the test rig here. So this time I'm going to mark all the holes, but I'm not going to drill out all the holes yet, because I want to test it on the drill press and see if this works. So I'm using an awl to punch in the holes now, and let's see how this turns out. Again, taking as much care as I could, I marked the position of the holes using an awl and a light to help me. And the result looked like this. Along here. For now, we are focusing on getting the position of the holes accurate, not drilling them perfectly plumb. Therefore, I use the drill press, even though you can't use this in the middle of the table. Then I could insert my 3D printed bench dogs and check that they were square to the table with my woodpecker's mini square. And I was fairly happy with the squareness of the bench dogs. Okay, so this jig here is a bit small, and we won't have that large of an effect from small inaccuracies. However, it will give us a good idea of what we have achieved, and if this is square, then I assess this proof of concept as valid. That is as close to 90 as I think we are ever going to get. As a crosscut jig for the track saw, this is far from perfect. It is too small for my needs, as this is no more than my miter saw handles. We could use some support for the offcuts, the base plate is too slippery and we need more holes. But we can do a few test cuts before we check the cuts for squareness. Working with an MFT as a concept seems really nice. The bench dogs can be moved around as you like, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. And the holes in the MFT is a great way to clamp down a workpiece in the middle of your workbench using one of these Bessie clamps. Now let's see if we can make some really square cuts on this thing. And there it is, as accurate as I can measure without doing the 5-cut method. And here we're looking at the cut with both the Swedish Hultafors square, which I have tested and is perfectly square, and the Woodpecker's Precision Square, which are also perfectly square as far as I can measure. And what is it Jimmy DeResta says? If it looks straight, it is straight, right? Well, if I cannot measure any deviations from square here, then I'm happy with this at least. What we did here may seem a bit banal. However, I hope you will agree that we have shown that using a template that is not susceptible to inherited uncertainty will give us a far better result. But your build will be subject to the inaccuracies of your template, so be mindful of that. Now where do we go from here? Well, of course we need a larger template and we need a way to drill plumb all the time without using the drill press. as the drill press can only reach the outside of the sheet you are drilling, and if it's a large sheet, I mean, maybe you can't use the drill press at all. Lots of people have already suggested using pegboards as a template, and I think that is a great idea. Do you have any other ideas? Please post them in the comments below. And if you have tips and ideas about how we can drill plumb every time without using the drill press, please post them in the comments below. I'm using a 20mm Forstner bit, but it can be with any other drill bit as well. It needs to be 20mm though. In the next video in this series, we will either be changing out the top of my workbench and making a proper MFT, or we will be tackling the problem with drilling plumb. That depends on how much work it's going to take. So stay tuned for that. That is it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to leave a thumbs up. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. You will find a Patreon link and affiliate links to products I use and recommend below. Cheers, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.